Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. And we are about to get into the super heat of things. Oh boy. This is the last day of the trial, and we just learned that the chief of police might be just one corrupt little son of a bitch. Let's see if we're right, although I have a feeling we are. Oh boy, this is going to suck to high water, I tell you. This is the defendant lobby, alright, but there's no defendant anywhere. I've been trying to reach Lana all morning. Where is she? And where's Emma for that matter? It almost seems as if something's been happening behind the scenes. Edgeworth! Knowing you've already figured it out. Who the owner of the 7777777 ID number is, that is. Well, I have a pretty strong hunch. Looks like I'm not the only one who's figured it out. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still room for doubt regarding this ID record. If that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True. Not yet, anyway. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling. 5 minutes, right, and Chief Prosecutor Sky will be found guilty. But she didn't do it! I figured you'd say as much. That's why I came here. To hear what you have to say. This is the first time he's ever done something like this. Well, Lana's hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth. Everything goes back to the SL9 incident. Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past, right? Well, that depends on you. If she's found guilty, you lose your only chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. See you in court, right? This is it. If I'm ever going to find out what Chief Cat has on her, it's now. Now or never. February 25th, 10 a.m. Court is now in session for the I can't remember the judge's voice. I don't care anymore. It's been 6 months, okay? Please forgive me. No, wait. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally, this is when the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. Chief Gant. Morning, folks. How's everyone doing? Hey, Archie. Been back to the pool yet? No, I've been drawn in enough as it is in my work. That's a good one. Don't think I could top that. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is this proposal of yours? Lana, that is to say, the defendant, has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Having heard what she intends to say, I feel that she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. What's this all about, defendant? I'd just like to make one simple request and I'll be finished. Well then, what is your request? Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial. Huh? I confess to all charges against me. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. No, Lana! You can't! Your Honor, the defendant's claim does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. But Lana! Your Honor, I I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I would like you to render your verdict now, if you please. Oh. Well, the defendant certainly has the right to self-representation. Her request is legally valid, although it is unprecedented. Indeed, if that's the case, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise. This can't be happening. It appears the time for the verdict has arrived. The court finds the defendant under these circumstances.
Objection!
One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Ledgeworth. The prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond reasonable doubt. Any ruling at this stage would certainly be premature. Oh, come now, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you, but why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut, I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gant. Beg pardon? Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes. I'm sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me be. With this sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal, Not everyone operates as you do, are they? I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. Oh? To whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. I request the court hears her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, I am exercising my right to self-representation. I don't think we need to continue. I don't care what you think, Miss Skye. The exposure of truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. Very well, the court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gant? Worthy, you'll live to regret this, mark my words. Miss Emma Skye, please take the stand. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins. Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is Emma Skye. My occupation? I'm Aunt Lana's little sister, and I want to be a scientific investigator. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer Joe Dark at the Joe Dark killings. Is this correct? Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Mr. Ledgeworth, please remember that this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant? Yes, it most certainly is. Well, okay then. Wow, his honor sure gave in fast. Now, please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. The trip to yesteryear has finally begun. It's bound to lead to the truth behind this trial. Yeah, but what truth is it? A truth we want to hear, or a truth that we're not gonna like? I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The man raised up his knife and he stabbed Mr. Goodman in the chest. Well, it's a good thing you weren't harmed. I passed out, so I don't remember much. Well, that's understandable. However, please tell me, Mr. Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder? That will soon become apparent, Your Honor. Oh, you better admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence. Well, very well then. The defense may begin its cross-examination. 2 years ago. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. Crap! There we go. Oh, God, there we go. 2 years ago, the defendant was a detective at the police department, correct? I'm doing a half Edgeworth, half Phoenix Wright voice. Yes. She was second in command under then Deputy Chief of Police Gant. My sister, she was the best detective ever. Yes, I remember. Deputy Chief Gant and Miss Carr used to be quite the pair. I believe they shared the same office. That's right. I'd always sit at my sister's desk and dream about playing that organ. I wanted to play it that day too. The police department and the prosecutor's office held a ceremony that day. Lana promised to take me to dinner after she finished her work. A man then came running in and he took me hostage. A man? Yes, Joe Dark. He was a serial killer. Joe Dark was brought in for questioning on the day of that ceremony. We were desperate to get anything on him that would lead to an arrest. When he saw his chance, he fled the room, correct? Upon fleeing the room, Dark proceeded to take the elevator. He must have been in a panic because the elevator was going up. Then he ran into Sky and Gant's office. There was a lot of noise coming from outside, so I opened the door to have a look. That's when I saw him. Neil Marshall rescued me. What was the prosecutor doing there? That day there were 2 people present during Dark's questioning. Deputy Chief Damon Gant and Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Almost forgot about Gant. Neil Marshall had just received the King of Prosecutors Award. Young and dedicated, he went straight to the questioning room after the ceremony. I assume that would also be why he was first to run after Dark. When Dark grabbed me, I thought I was as good as dead. And that's when Prosecutor Marshall came running in? I don't clearly remember what happened then, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. Can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. Just then, the lights went out. The lights? It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on and lightning struck nearby. So the electricity went out. Wait a minute. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right? Right, but just then lightning flashed again outside. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image of the scene in my mind. I see. I told the detective about what I saw then. The detective? Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case. Detective Bruce Goodman, the victim. So, you spoke with Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago? Yes, that's what's so scary about this trial. And you told Detective Goodman about what you saw? Yes, but at the time the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. A picture? Yes, I think she mentioned that before. Well, Mr. Wright, have you heard enough? She did mention the picture. What about it? Well, this picture the witness drew, I believe it has a very important meaning. But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if we added this statement to your testimony? Yes, Your Honor. I drew a picture of that scene once, but it seems to have been lost. You drew a picture of the scene you witnessed, right? Yes, I wanted to do everything I could to help the investigation. I can still see it now, whenever I close my eyes. That's strange. I took over the case after Prosecutor Marshall died, yet I never received any picture. Perhaps the witness is mistaken. But I did draw it, I swear! I'm not imagining it. This picture that Emma drew. That reminds me. I guess I should check the evidence again. Well, anyway, let's continue. This scene that imprinted an image in your mind. Can you please describe it to us? The man raised up his knife and he stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. That must have been a real shock. Even now when I close my eyes, I can still see it just as clearly. Tell us, what were you doing at that moment? I believe you testified that Joe Dark was holding you hostage. When lightning struck and the lights went out, Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. I was thrown aside and the two wrestled with each other. I'm pretty sure I was watching them. Emma doesn't have any reason to lie, but Lana sure does. I need to get Emma to tell me as much about this as she can. Oh dear. Well, clearly the main sticking point... Yes. No. There we go. The main sticking point is this. She drew a picture of that scene once, but it seems to have been lost. I never got a picture. Have I? No, I know I didn't get a picture. You know, now that I think about it, I think there might have been one thing I forgot to do. I think I forgot to fully check one of the evidence pieces. Whoa. Well, yeah, that's all we know about that. I don't think I checked this. The list of evidence. I never checked it. Let's see. Can I not? I cannot read this. Are you kidding me? I can't read it. Fine. You know what I think? I think this is in Japanese, and yes, fattest Engi, can you please go away? Anyway, I think this was written in Japanese, and then because it was ported back to America as a remake, they decided to just blur it over, so we have no idea what they're saying in Japanese. Either that, or this is also what happened in Japan, and it just blurred it out, and it's like, oh, you can't read what's on the evidence. Anyway, okay, I was just being funny and like roll around in a circle, but I did. I did not see that. Oops. A picture is drawn on the back of the evidence listed magic marker. I've got a very bad feeling about this. I think I know. This is what she saw, wasn't it? Mr. Edgeworth, this little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. And yet you would insist on denying its existence. Huh? I am not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold. This is the evidence list for the SL9 incident. Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over? Turn it off? What is this? Yes, what is that? Hey, that's it. That's the picture I drew. Indeed. Two men appear to be wrestling here. What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only the prosecutor in charge should have that list. Huh? These lists... They're different from each other. What? It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you were handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These two lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here where they were torn apart from each other. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half of the evidence in that case ever reached you. What? Order! But, Miss Scott, why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list? Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor. Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor, are you alright, Mr. Wright? Your eyes are bulging from your head. If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more to the drawing on the back of Mr. Edwards' list. Yes, that's quite possible. Mr. Edgeworth. It's possible. Let's see. Is something wrong? Do you even have to ask, Your Honor? Sorry, Your Honor. There is indeed something drawn on the back of my list. It's that thing! The blue badger? That thing? That thing was dancing in the evidence room. Clearly, this act of vandalism is the work of a certain chief of detectives. I guess he was that scrap paper. Well, it's been restored, and we got a whole picture now. Let's see for the hell of it. Very well, witness. Will you testify about this picture you drew 2 years ago? I meant to press the court record, not to continue, but I just continued on for the rest of it, whatever the hell, anyway. Let's see. No, I don't want profile, you dumbass. There we go. Yep, there's your whole picture. This is very... This is very odd. A murder scene and then the blue badgers. This is very, very, very odd. Very super duper odd, but whatever. I'm sorry, the blue badger, I'm so sorry. Oh god, I just remember seeing that video in the evidence room, like spend like 5 minutes of my life rewatching the whole thing over and over and over again. It was like, ah! Huh? Oh, yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor. What's wrong with Emma? She seemed to be thinking about something when she was looking at the picture. Emma's picture. Ah, boy. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. The flash of lightning was so bright, all I could see were shadows. After that, I must have fainted. This picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. To think a flash of lightning could burn such an image in your mind. Thanks to that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw. Well, I don't see any other contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder Prosecutor Neil Marshall. The defense may now begin its cross-examination. This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. Did you draw this picture right after the incident? I think I drew it 2 or 3 days later. At first I was in such a state of shock that I couldn't do anything. During that time, the investigation team was reorganized. Detective Goodman was placed in charge, under the direction of Damon Gaunt and Lana Skye. 2 or 3 days later, the memory should still have been fresh in her mind. Excuse me, witness. But can you please tell us why this picture is painted all black? Well, the flash of lightning was so bright that all I could see were shadows. So at the time, you didn't know it was Mr. Marshall who had come to your rescue? No, I couldn't see him clearly. The lightning was so bright, and I was knocked to the floor. You were knocked to the floor? Dark had a tight grip on me, but when Mr. Marshall jumped on him, I was knocked away. I turned around, and that's when the lightning flashed. Poor Emma. I'm just glad she wasn't hurt. What happened after the lightning flashed? After that, I must have fainted. You mean you didn't see the actual murder take place? No, I'm sorry. The flash of lightning only drove off the darkness for a split second. Not only that, but the trauma of the situation understandably caused the witness to faint. Do you really need to torture this girl any further, Wright? What? Hey, I'm not the bad guy here. Anyway, this picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. I'm sorry for asking you so many times, Emma, but are you sure you drew exactly what you saw? Of course! This is the exact scene! It wasn't influenced in any way from your talks with the detectives. All you insinuated blah 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 blah. All you insinuating we somehow manipulated her memory, Mr. Wright. No, of course not. I better watch out or he might find some way to cut my salary. I drew this picture before I heard anything from the detectives, so I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me. Mr. Wright, is there something that's bothering you about this picture? Huh? Well... That's strange. She claims this is exactly the scene that was imprinted in her mind, and yet, there's clearly a contradiction here. There's a contradiction in the picture? Oh shoot. What contradiction is there in the picture? I don't know. Let's see. Well, we really can't see anything. All we see is shadows. Well, are we gonna say that this is Neil Marshall being... this is Joe Dark being stabbed? But, it's very helpful. Oh, God, oh. There's a contradiction here. Okay, sure. Whatever. Whatever, right? You're seeing it. Why don't you announce it? Okay. Oh! Oh yeah, this is what we call me being an idiota. I am a huge idiota. Yeah, Joe Dark is killing Neil Marshall. With a knife. She said this is exactly what she saw. And if that is true, why is the knife already broken? The knife wasn't broken until after he attacked Neil Marshall. Huh. See, the broken tip was found in the victim's body, so it wasn't broken yet. That was a wrong piece of evidence! Ah, crap, how am I gonna do this? Yes, right. I know, thank you so freaking much. Yes, Your Honor, can you please just slap me in the face and call it a day? Oh no. The autopsy report? Yeah, is it the autopsy report where the knife tip was found in the wound? There we go, not the knife, but the autopsy report. It has to be something that mentions about the broken knife. Whoopsie daisy. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, Emma, but this picture you drew, it contains a blatant contradiction. What? But I still remember it like it was yesterday. Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. What part of this picture contradicts the autopsy report? This. The contradiction, of course, lies here. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see the tip is broken. You and I don't have to look that closely to see that, Mr. Wright. But, Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See the murder weapon? Its tip is broken too. If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken off in the victim's body. It was a conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was the murderer. I'm afraid it's not so simple, Emma. And where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem, Wright? It's obviously the victim suffered a single stab wound in the back. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken. Oh! Whoa. What is the meaning of this? Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand. Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly wind up there. That's right. But what does this mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness's memory is mistaken. That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time, but she was sure she remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain this inconsistency. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There is another explanation. Have you forgotten already? About a little something called falsified evidence. You're treading on thin ice, Wright. Look, all I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. No. Gah! Order! Are you saying the investigation was really corrupted? Your Honor, please allow me to once again go over the events that took place the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King of Prosecutors Award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with Damon Gant. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in this story, there is a lie. I'm not lying. The man really was holding up a broken knife. If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. There must have been another broken knife. Now what are the chances of there being two broken knives? Another broken knife besides Joe Dark's? Oh my god! I just had a bad feeling. Please don't tell me my feeling is right. If it is, then this is really, really bad. Oh boy. Could there have been another one? Oh god. I think there was another one. Oh god. I think there was another broken knife at the scene. Oh god, this is bad. If this is true... Oh god. If the witness is adamant about the accuracy about what she saw, it can't just be explained away by a simple observational error. And my mouse is going haywire. Mr. Wright! In an instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. I assume, then, that you have some information about this other broken knife? If so, please feel free to enlighten us. The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Take a look at this. Here's the real murder weapon. Oh my god, I think I'm right. It's in this picture. It's this. The King of Prosecutors Award. A chipped shield and a broken sword. Oh god. The answer lies in the past. 2 years in the past. Right here inside this picture. This is a picture of the award ceremony! What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon! Notice the award Prosecutor Marshall is holding. That's a broken knife! As we earlier concluded, the knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood from this award. Order! Neil Marshall was awarded the King of Prosecutors Neil Marshall was awarded the King of Prosecutors Award that day. As an award, he was given this broken shield and knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol, So this broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation. But that can't be! Oh? And why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because if the King of Prosecutors Award knife was the murder weapon, then the murderer and the victim would be reversed. What do you mean? I mean that this man raising the knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall, which is where my bad feeling comes in. Exactly right. That's my bad feeling. But the prosecutor was the one who actually died. That's true. What the hell's going on here? It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions. Wait! I remember now. I remember everything. Witness? Mr. Edgeworth? What is it? Oh, I put my mouse off the board. There we go. Could you show me your evidence list again, please? His list? The one with that picture scribbled on the back. I knew it. This picture? I'm the one who drew it. What? You drew that? That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. Huh? All this time, I've been trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside me. Perhaps it would be best if we added this to the witness's testimony. Would you please tell us what you've recalled, Miss Scott? Yes, Your Honor. First the knife mix-up and now the blue badger? Oh boy, this should be interesting. Huh? What? When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed toward both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then, there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. Oh, well, this is certainly most unusual. Try impossible. The chief of detectives hadn't even designed him until this year. That would mean he didn't even exist 2 years ago. Yes, well, the defense may now begin it. Stop! Please, don't pursue this any further. Lana, what is the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the defendant's chair. But you can't do this. I've already confessed to the crime. Why can't you just leave it at that? Chief Prosecutor Sky. We've already come this far. It's too late to turn back. Silence! The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant. Seems we're finally getting to the core of the matter. Oh god, apparently this clearly means something if Lana is panicking. The blue badger, what the hell? When I saw that man raise his knife... When you say that man, I assume you refer to Joe Dark. Yes, well, at least I think it was him. You think? Well, all I could really see was shadows. The power outage that immediately preceded the incident is also documented in the prosecutor's office reports. So then you... I panicked and rushed toward both of them. Now, why would you do something so dangerous, Emma? What else could I have done? He was about to stab Mr. Marshall. She seems convinced that Dark was the one holding the knife. But as we just theorized, Mr. Marshall was the one holding the knife. Well, I didn't know that at the time. When that Dark guy knocked me down, all I could think was, I've got to help that other person. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. What do you mean, you think? It all happened so fast, and I was in shock. I don't remember everything clearly. What I did, it's all a big blur. Miss Sky was almost killed before she was witness to a murder about to take place. With so much happening in a matter of seconds, a little disorientation is only natural. I saw the man about to stab the other person, who I thought was Mr. Marshall. I knew I had to stop the man with the knife. What you did was very brave, young girl. So then what happened next? Just then, there was another flash of lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. Are you sure about this? Of course. See? I even drew a picture of him here. But it was the chief of detectives who thought up this hideous beast. And that was just this year. The blue badger didn't exist 2 years ago. It's all quite verifiable. I know it sounds strange. I mean, I was surprised too when I saw him at the police department. I had this nagging feeling that I'd seen him somewhere before. Now I finally remember. Oh, brother. Just when you thought that thing had caused a nerve commotion. Tell us, where in the room did you see him dancing? Well, he wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. His shadow? So you mean you didn't actually see his face with its winning smile and all that? That's right, but I still remember it. He had 3 creepy horns. This is pointless. That thing couldn't have possibly existed 2 years ago. The witness must be mistaken. That may well be. But what's important is what caused her to think she saw what she did. Oh, and I suppose you have an explanation. If so, then by all means, please tell us what this shadow really was. What was it Emma saw when that lightning flashed? Who is this blue badger really? Oh god, I don't know. She's very certain that she saw its shadow. So that means it has to be an object that was in the room at the time of the crime. What was in the room at the time of the crime? Oh god, let me think here. I'm relying on my photographic memory, because remember I said I'm not going to look at the evidence at any time, except to do a once-over check. And I am regretting that fact right now. Oh god. Let me see. Something that is in the office, or was in the office, that we probably would have right now as evidence. Everything that's related to SL9. A thin rubber glove. Can't be the damn glove. It's definitely not the broken knife. Oh god, what is in that office? Well, we had that broken jar. That's SL9. Ah, Jesus. What is in the office? Something that is in the office. I am really drawing a blank here. This is... Well, I can't rely on what I saw in the office now, because this is 2 years later. And the only thing that showed what was in the office 2 years ago is that photo with Gant, Neil, and Lana. Got it! I'm sorry, I just remembered on the picture of that damn vase. The broken vase. That's the only thing I have in my evidence right now with me that was in the office 2 years ago. It's... But what does that have to do with the blue badger? Well, she saw something. And they said that Damon Gant preserved the office the way it was for 2 years. The only thing he couldn't exactly preserve would then be that jar. Because it's broken and now it's evidence. That's the only thing that's missing in that office now that was there 2 years ago. Is it possible? Oh, this is a very terrible thing to think of, but this is the only clue I have. A broken vase that was there 2 years ago and is not now. Now in my possession. It's the only thing I can think of. Is that what she saw? A silhouette of the jar, which somehow creates the blue badger? The blue badger hadn't even been dreamt up when Emma drew this picture. Yet she's certain she saw its shadow. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the defense's belief that on that fateful day 2 years ago, there indeed was something that looked similar to the blue badger. Something that is now sitting in this very room. Mr. Wright! In this room? Well, very well, Mr. Wright. What is it that the witness saw in that instant? Please show us this mysterious blue badger look-alike. Oh god, Here's your blue badger look-alike! This is the only thing that is not in the office now. And, oh, I don't know how the hell this is supposed to look like the blue badger. The mysterious blue badger was in fact this. But that's... what exactly is that? I believe it's some sort of jar. But Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the blue badger. Indeed it doesn't. As it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change our viewpoint? Our viewpoint? I got to show them the correct angle to look at this from... Huh? Okay. So apparently this does look like the blue badger. What? Sure. Well. Okay, I can kind of see the horns. What the? Here's your blue badger, like this. No, this is missing the third horn. My mouse is being stupid right now, I'm sorry. There we go. Here's your blue badger. It's missing the top horn. Oh, brother. Wait a minute. What if I brought that up here? Oh my frickin' lord. I'm done. Bye. I am so... I am so freaking done. Okay. You're kidding me. This looks like the goddamn blue bat. Well, it looks like the head, but... Oh my god, are you... If you heard that in the distance, that was me swanking my forehead. Are you kidding me? This is the blue bat. Oh my god. The crapshoot actually paid off. Okay, sure. My crapshoot worked. Well, is this a miracle or what? No one can possibly deny this jar's resemblance to the blue badger. Okay. Exactly, Edgeworth. My sentiments exactly. Order! The defense has proven its claim. The mysterious blue badger witnessed on the day of the crime was actually this. Okay. Although we've all enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? What do you mean? So that badger thing was actually just a jar. That doesn't change anything. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, this changes everything. Indeed. Very well then, I'll bite. So please tell us what's different now that we know the witness saw this jar. Oh my god. Wait a minute. The murder. I remember when we were in the office. I'm pretty sure somewhere in the I heard it somewhere, but it said that the murder occurred in Lana's office, or her side of the room. But the jar is located in Damon Gant's side of the room. Remember when I made a mention about the suit of armor in the picture? And that's where the suit of armor was, in Damon Gant's side of the room? The jar was in the picture, so the jar is in Damon Gant's office. So when Emma witnessed this particular scene, she didn't see it take place in her sister's office. She saw it took place in Damon Gant's office. That changes the location. Yes, it's the same room, but the room is split in two, so it's in a different office. That changes things. Allow me to take these in turn. At the moment of the murder, the witness saw this jar. At a very specific angle, I might add, Mr. Wright. Yes, well, knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? Where? The location of the jar is shown in a picture taken on the day of the crime. It's on a shelf in the office of Damon Gant. But the body was found lying near Lana Sky's desk. The witness testified so herself. Yes, and it is these two facts that reveal what actually transpired. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room, in Chief Gant's office. Sorry about the pause there. I thought I heard something and I was going insane. I think it was outside. I thought it was my door knocking. Oh well, whatever. Are you implying then that the murderer moved the victim's body from Damon Gant's office to Lana Sky's office? Yes. Now why would he do that? There is no reason, right? Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. The only logical conclusion is that there was a reason. Well, do you know what that reason was, Mr. Wright? I finally figured it out. So this is why Lana tried to stop the trial. It's too late to quit now, though. Please recall the witness's testimony. She said she knocked away the man who was holding up the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? Uh-oh. That would have to have been the impact the man made when he was knocked into the wall. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. Oh no. If the man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on, what would he have hit? Exactly. Oh no. The suit of armor, holding a very sharp and dangerous looking sword. Yes, I am extremely shocked and I am trying to keep a normal speaking tone for these people. Oh my god. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have to have been Neil Marshall, wielding the King of Prosecutors trophy. No. Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking. Yes, there is another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Another possibility. Of course, the perpetrator would have had no idea, but nevertheless, I don't know if I can go through with this. Oh god. It was an accident. It was nothing but a big, complete accident. Mr. Wright, what's the matter? If events took place as the defense theorizes, then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the man Emma Sky knocked away was actually Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Exactly. And that's what Lana's been trying to cover up this whole time. Cover up the fact that her sister accidentally killed Neil Marshall. You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? Oh, boy. We just found Neil Marshall's murderer. Although murder is it's not even the right word. It's a complete and utter accident. That's all it was. I never imagined her testimony would lead to this. Though it was the witness who took the victim's life, and then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented. What are you saying? I'm sorry, Miss Skye, but given the circumstances, Joe Dark murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin the crime on her? Imagine that coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out about what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Edgeworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence? I'm willing to bet you don't. Yes, it certainly would be difficult to prove this with evidence. If we don't have evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. Well, we certainly can't get dead people to testify. God damn it, this has all been a wild goose chase from the beginning. Touché, Miss Skye. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility. You mean there's still another possibility? What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? I mean, the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or for worse, Mr. Marshall did not die instantly. He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life. In one manner or another. That's impossible. Well, Mr. Wright, this is the only possibility left to you. A message from the deceased. Does such a message exist? I've got to think back on the court record. And I think there is. I think there actually might be. The suit of armor was right next to that damned vase, or jar, whatever. Assuming it hadn't been knocked down yet. And remember there was a squiggly line on it. Oh god. It's quite possible Neil Marshall did write something on that jar, and I think I know what it would be. The real murderer's name that the victim may have left behind is in the goddamned evidence. I don't want it to be so, but that's what the evidence says. This message from the deceased is already in our possession. Mr. Wright! Will you stop at nothing to prove my sister a murderer? Do not be mistaken, Miss Skye. Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. There is only one thing we seek. The truth. No matter how painful it may be. Now then, Mr. Wright, please show us the piece of evidence that conveys a message from the deceased. It's that damn jar. See that squiggly line? And now that the idea of a message from the dead has been brought to mind, I can actually see Emma's name on there. I can actually see it. Oh god. This is the message left by the deceased. This is that blue badger from before, right? Oh, is he just going to speak the killer's name? If that thing could, I'm sure it would. Looks like everyone's forgotten this is just a jar. A message was left here, on the surface of this jar. What do you mean? If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on this jar. It looks like someone wiped the blood away. But notice, for some reason, the blood on some of the fragments was not wiped away. Yes, there is a line here drawn in blood. So what you're saying is that these dots were once lines. Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used the few precious moments left to him to leave behind a message. One that someone apparently wiped away. But blood must have seeped into the jar where the line changed directions. Precisely so. All we need to do then is connect these points, and the victim's message will become apparent. No! Mr. Wright, what kind of message did the victim leave for us? Your Honor, I believe these bloodstains will reveal to us the answer. Trying to connect the dots. And there's only one thing the victim would have written given the circumstances. His murderer's name. Oh, I forgot I had to click and drag. Given the circumstances, we should already know the answer. But it doesn't make it any less easier to draw. Given the circumstances, that's what it would have been. Emma. It's the defense attorney's duty to prove their client's innocence. That's why all I've been thinking about is saving Lana. After all my efforts, I never thought it would turn out like this. Emma. So this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. Of all people, she may not have meant it, but in the end the one who took the victim's life was Emma Skye. See, Waldy? Can't say I didn't warn you. I just took a guess and yeah. Chief Gant, do you understand the implications of what you've done? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in the case, were you not? Yes, Waldy. Because of you, an innocent man was sentenced to death. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. Now hold on a moment. Joe Dark really was a serial murderer. That's undeniable. I'm afraid that's not important. Didn't you know we aren't defenders of justice? What? We're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter, even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgery. Ultimately, the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, this fact can't be denied. What's going on at the prosecutor's office? They might have sent an innocent man to his death. How can he just stand there like it was his fault, like it wasn't his fault? Order! The gavel's pounding fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where this trial is headed? No one knows. It's not over yet. We've apparently solved SL9. Or at least in terms of Neil Marshall's death. We have yet to solve Lana Skye's case yet. Oh boy. I have nothing to say except see you guys on the next video. This was a bombshell and a roller coaster of an ending for this episode. Oh my god. Oh, good. See you guys in the next one.